SVG-TV News for Thursday, August 7th, 2025. I am Yvette Bowens with the details. Minister of Finance, Economic Planning and Information Technology Camila Gonçalves today presented a motion in Parliament seeking approval for a supplementary appropriation of $98.6 million. The funding will support ongoing infrastructure and recovery efforts following the devastating impact of Hurricane Beryl, a Category 4 storm that struck the country in July last year. The proposed funds will be allocated to four key areas: $28.2 million for the ongoing National Roads Rehabilitation Program, $25.6 million for the completion of the modern Kingston Cargo Port, $41.75 million for the post-Hurricane Beryl Housing Recovery Program, and $3 million for temporary accommodation for displaced residents, including apartments and guest houses. Minister Gonçalves explained that this is the third time in recent years that the government has returned to Parliament during the second half of the fiscal year seeking supplementary funding for the port project. He emphasized that such requests are not unusual given the complexity and scale of the development. The port, now over 90% physically complete, has encountered two major delays. The first caused by Hurricane Beryl, the second due to the declutching of the quay wall, which required unexpected remedial work. This work is currently being handled by the contractor and their insurance provider and is not the reason for the current funding request. Minister Gonçalves told Parliament that the funds we are requesting are to ensure that the port becomes fully operational by the end of October. He noted that while the projected cost of the port has increased by approximately 3%, the supplementary appropriation will cover the remaining expenses necessary for completion.
The government secured what's called an ad loan from the Caribbean Development Bank in June of 2025, and this supplementary budget brings to account that ad loan and appropriates money that was previously indicated in the 2025 estimates of expenditure to be coming from local loans and to be paid in 2026. So the ad loan is to complete the work related to the port and to bring some local loans into the ambit of that ad loan. Madam Speaker.
Advance, is that what you meant? I'm not clear, but the expression...
I apologize. The ad is for additional. Additional. When you add additional resources to an existing loan with the Caribbean Development Bank. I apologize for the jargon.
Minister Gonçalves also highlighted the need for $28.2 million to continue work under the National Roads Program. He recalled that Parliament had previously approved $41.4 million for this initiative in the 2025 capital estimates, and that the government had already projected an additional $28.2 million to be spent in 2026.
What we're seeking to do, Madam Speaker, is out of the money approved by this Parliament, the loan, the money that was borrowed, we approved the entirety of the borrowing, but we apportioned it over multiple years. We're saying that we have spent the money that was apportioned for this year and we still have roads to do. We still have roads to complete. So the rest of the money that we thought we were going to be spending next year, we will actually want to spend it this year. And that is why we're here for this particular appropriation.
With thousands affected by Hurricane Beryl, Minister Gonçalves outlined the breakdown of the $41.75 million requested for housing recovery. $29 million will be allocated to the Ministry of Housing and $12 million will go to the Housing and Land Development Corporation.
Madam Speaker, we're seeking $41.7 million primarily to change the source of financing that's in the budget from the Saudi Fund for Development to local loans. That is $30 million out of the $41 million is essentially that change in source of funds from what was allocated in the budget to be spent from the Saudi Fund for Development to now what we're saying will be funded by local loans. And, Madam Speaker, there were 4 significant changes to our projections that we made at the beginning of the year that have necessitated this particular request for an appropriation. First, the number of houses to be repaired has increased, repaired or rebuilt, and the ratio between houses that have to be repaired and houses that have to be rebuilt has also changed. And I'll explain how that has changed. That's one issue. The pace, the speed at which the Saudi funds have become available is something also that is a variable that has changed over the course of the year when we first made our projections at the beginning of the year. The date, the third issue, the date by which the prefabricated homes would become available shifted from the end of March, as we said in our initial budget, to essentially the end of July when we first began receiving the prefabricated homes from Trinidad. And the fourth factor, which was on the positive side, was the extent to which the Honorable Prime Minister was able to raise grant funds and stimulate NGO activity in the housing sector. And
he reported that so far the government has responded to the housing needs of 4,902 households across St. Vincent and the Grenadines, with an additional 670 homes currently under construction. Minister Gonzalez also indicated that $3 million is being allocated to continue covering accommodation costs for residents who remain displaced and are currently housed in apartments and guest houses paid for by the government.
By the end of May, we had already spent $5 million EC dollars for that touristic accommodation rental, and we had another $6 million to be paid for the months of June to September. And when we looked at the universe of people who are still resident in apartments and guest houses, and the dwindling funds remaining in the allocation through Berry, we realized that we needed an additional $3 million to continue to pay the rent for displaced people until their houses are rebuilt or until they have time and opportunity to move back home. Madam Speaker, again, we hope that we will not have to spend the entirety of this $3 million. We hope that as houses get repaired, people move out and move back home into their repaired house. There have been instances where people's houses have been repaired and they have been reluctant to move back for various reasons. The most obvious one being economic. If you have your rent being paid and your light being paid and your water bill being paid, there's an economic imperative to maybe do something else with your house, maybe rent it out while you stay in touristic accommodations. And then, yes, absolutely. I'm dead serious because that's taken place.
Giving support to the motion, Minister of Agriculture, Forestry and Fisheries, Saboto Caesar, said their approach has always been a people-centered one, and they will continue to meet the needs of the people whether or not it is an election year.
So when you hear supplementary estimates come in, and it's an election year, man saying, boy, well, the government said they're going to do the people's work. They're doing the work of the people. And those who going around telling people all kind of thing to mama guide them, they are listening to the parliament today. And they are hearing that we are here to discuss, and we are here to vote on monies to address that mother in Chapman's and in Diamonds and in Greg's and in Lowman's, who since burial, the roof leaking, the roof was affected by Thomas, was blown off, but the ash from Soufriere got under the groove and started to rust the galvanize, I am speaking today as the area representative of South Central Windward, who will continue to bring home that seat. Who will continue to bring home that seat overwhelmingly. I am speaking to that mother. That we are here in this parliament today to address your needs. I am here to speak to that family who, when they see the rain, as we say, rain make up a bayside, and you had to go behind your house to look for the bucket to put close to your bed, and you had to shift around the furniture in the room. When I listen to the Minister of Finance, he's bringing hope to that family.
Caesar said he is happy that as a government they continue to deliver to the citizens of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and that they will continue to prioritize the needs of the population. He added that he is pleased with the government's ongoing efforts to deliver meaningful development across sectors and expressed confidence in the support of the Vincentian public. In his contribution to the debate on the motion, Leader of the Opposition and President of the New Democratic Party, Dr. Godwin Friday, told Parliament that the opposition remains committed to acting in the best interests of the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
I don't care what other people may think on the government side as to how we do our job. What matters to me most is what I hear from the people when I go out all over this country and meet them, and the reassurance I get from them that they want to see a new Democratic Party with members who look out for the interests of the people of this country, and that is a promise that I've given to them, that all of our members, that is what we're doing. And that's what we are doing, Madam Speaker, with respect to the supplementary estimates. The government is coming to Parliament now to ask for an additional $98 million to spend between now and the end of the year. We had the estimates earlier, and they brag about it, the biggest budget ever, as usual. And this is the best government for planning. They can execute all kinds of wonderful schemes. But they're coming now in August and saying, well, we don't spend all the money that you give us for these particular areas, and we need some more.
Dr. Friday made it clear that the opposition is not against the construction of the new port. In fact, he noted that the opposition had supported the initial loan request to fund the port's development. However, he reiterated long-standing concerns about how the project has been managed.
In March, I asked the question of the minister responsible about the status of the project, about the funding, whether there were sufficient funds to complete the project. This was in March. And she indicated that they had sufficient funds to finance the project, but of course, costs vary and there are changes and so on that happens during construction. Understand that. The point of the matter is, Madam Speaker, we have to know what those, specifically, what those costs are. Let us not hide from the fact. The elephant in the room here, Madam Speaker, is what is happening with the port. It's $700 million, and we look at it and we see that there are problems with the construction of it. And we come to the Parliament, and all we get is from the minister and the various persons who speak about it publicly is that this is normal. How the hell that could be normal? If you build a house and somebody tell you put on the roof and Friday your foundation is cracking, you're going to come and tell me that's normal? That this is to be expected in a project of this magnitude? That we are using industry standards to fix it? I don't care what these industry standards are. What I want to know is whether people in this country are going to get value for their money. And that is what this is about. $700 million for a poor country like ours. You know? 600 million of that is borrowed money. You have to pay it back.
The opposition leader also highlighted the ongoing delays in the port project, suggesting that the lack of information and accountability has made it difficult to assess the true cause of setbacks, including issues related to the declutching.
The Minister of Finance said, and he was trying, says, not to be technical, but at the same time, not sounding very comfortable with respect to what is exactly going on. People talk about the piles that are declutching. He's speaking about the key wall that is declutching. What I would like to know, Madam Speaker, is that the extent of the repairs that are required, who is determining, Madam Speaker, what needs to be done? Who is paying for it? Because the minister is coming here and asking for an additional amount of money which is not within the estimates for the completion of the project. So this is money in addition to what he had projected in the estimates. And even more, twice as much as what they have said they would spend next year from local loans, because that was 11.5 million. He's asking for 25.6 million. I would like to know, and I think the people of this country are entitled to know, what is the cost of the repair that is being undertaken now? How much is it costing to fix the declutching problem that we're having, whether it's the key wall or the piles or however you describe it? The contractor is paying, yes, that's a different question. I still need to know what is the cost of it. You say that the contractor is paying for that work. So let's know exactly how much is at stake here. And Madam Speaker, we have to have our own eyes on the project to ensure that we are getting what we're paying for.
The St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force Fire Department is investigating the circumstances surrounding a fire that broke out aboard the Jade and Sun Fast Ferry this morning, shortly after 8 a.m. while the vessel was docked at the Kingston Wharf. Acting Fire Chief ASP Mark Ellis told SVG-TV News that the fire originated at the rear of the vessel, but firefighters were able to contain the blaze within half an hour of arriving at the scene. He noted that the team received assistance from the SVG Coast Guard and the tugboats, which helped to bring the situation under control.
We got the call around 6 past 8 there about, and the fire service in Kingston, the firefighters, they responded promptly. When they got there, the fire was at its, they got there about 8:15, a couple of minutes from here to up there. The fire was at its fully developed stage. The fire was to the back end of the Jade and Sun, that's the Fast Ferry, which is owned by Elvis Gooding. They use water from the fire tender. I went up there, and when I got there, we used water from the fire tender to extinguish the fire. It took us about half an hour or so, but in terms of mapping up, because there were fire to the back end and also inside where you have the accommodation. So it took us about half an hour or so to extinguish the fire, and then close to about an hour to map up everything, because there was a lot of heat and smoke coming from the back end of the Fast Ferry.
ASP Ellis confirmed that no one was injured in the incident. However, despite the fire being brought under control, the interior of the ferry sustained extensive damage, especially in the passenger accommodation area. He added that the engine room was reportedly not affected by the fire.
There were no injuries sustained by anyone. No other ships were in danger or anything like that. And also there was a tugboat that was close by. They also assist us in terms of we got some water from that tugboat to also assist us in extinguishing the fire. The Coast Guard was also out at sea, so they were on standby also. There were personnel from SSU and other police officers who also came to help us in terms of crowd control and so on. And it took us about half an hour and a half after we extinguished the fire to map up everything. And everything went well, I must say. But where the accommodation is, where persons normally sit and so on, there was a lot of damage done there because of the smoke and the heat and the fire was in that part of the ship. And where you have the where they sell the drinks, the bar and so on, that area also was damaged. But as I said, the engine room, I believe, according to the captain, is still intact, yes. And the upper part of the ship, where the captain normally do his thing from, all those areas are still intact, and the outside and the left and the right side and the front of the ship. So it's just the back of the ship that got most of the damage and the accommodation area. But most of the ship is still intact.
The Jade and Sun Fast Ferry is a key passenger transport vessel serving routes primarily in the southern Grenadines. Authorities continue to assess the extent of the damage and determine the cause of the fire. As the week-long free eye care clinic came to a close, optometrist Stephen Stern, who led the eye care initiative in collaboration with the Sandals Foundation, described the effort as one of hard work and dedication. Speaking in an interview with SVG-TV today, Stern reflected positively on the experience and the impact it had on the community, noting that they were able to serve nearly 700 people.
This is our last day here at the school, and the turnout has been overwhelming. We've been seeing almost 500 patients every day, providing full health screenings, sunshades, reading glasses, prescription glasses. We're going to be making a couple hundred for every day so far. So I think we're already, as of before this morning, 600 pair that we're making, which is incredible. That's all totally free. Those will be returned in November to our patients. We're also doing treatment for diabetic retinopathy, laser treatment. So that is a really important thing if you need that to come down. That can save you from going blind.
Stern noted that the individuals who received prescriptions during the clinic will be provided with their glasses when his team returns in November. He also emphasized the importance of regular eye checkups, especially in identifying early-stage issues that, if left untreated, could lead to permanent vision loss.
No plans for next year yet, but I would like to say it's so important to come get tested because, especially for glaucoma, a lot of people have glaucoma. It's a silent taker of your eyesight, and any damage that the glaucoma is doing is not repairable. So people have it, you don't feel anything. It's very, very common in St. Vincent. A lot of people don't know they have it. So even if you can't make it to this clinic, it's really important you go down to your local eye professional and you get checked for glaucoma, because if you have it and you start taking drops, you're going to keep your sight. Otherwise, you're going to go blind.
Throughout the week, many Vincentians who participated in the clinic shared their experiences with SVG-TV, expressing appreciation for the opportunity.
I think the service was 100%. The people who came, they were very polite and helpful. I was taken along. I don't know if it's because of my age or what, but I was taken along and well taken care of. And I appreciate and whatever they have done. Well, I made a lot of friends going through, and then they come back and say, I certainly will.
At the beginning, it was rush, because it's free and everybody wants to be in. So it was a bit rushy in the morning, but as the process started, the people and the helpers were very good. They were very good. I wish we, Vincent, would be that more patient, more tolerant, and how to line.
As was yesterday, yeah, but
I got the paper go home and I come back this morning, but it was good this morning. It was not too bad. Not too bad. The only problem is sugar. It was high. No, but it was good.
When I came the first time, I had to wait. It was a long wait. But after the wait and the letting us in the line, everything started to go smoothly when we were in the line. Then we go through the process of we testing our eyes, making sure we're okay, and we're not out the sun, not getting no strokes or anything, so we're drinking water and being healthy. And being careful, having nurses on site so they help us in case of freezing down our pressure, sugar, everything happen. The experience went smoothly and the grass easy.
Stern extended his gratitude to the Ministry of Health and the Sandals Foundation for their collaboration, calling the initiative a valuable service to the people of St. Vincent and the Grenadines.